breaking news. Germany delivers ninth IRIS-T air defense system to Ukraine. This was just confirmed. December 26, 2025. This isn't just another delivery, it's a huge milestone. It signals Europe's unwavering industrial-scale commitment to building a real shield against aggression. And if you want these timely, in-depth reports, the kind of analysis that gets into the nuts and bolts behind the headlines, well, you know what to do. Subscribe to Defense Reports. I'm Alex. Join me with Aria in the latest Deep Dive by Defense Report for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today we're going to cover, well, it's a big one.
It really is. We're tracking how a single piece of hardware, that ninth German IRIS-T system, is doing more than just changing the battlefield in Ukraine. It's signaling a foundational shift in Europe's entire defense strategy.
A shift built on industrial power, not just aid.
Exactly. And we've got three major insights we're going to unpack for you today that go way beyond this one system. First, we'll get into the unprecedented battlefield claim, how Ukraine provided the first real, documented proof that the IRIS-T can shoot down tactical ballistic missiles. That's a capability very few people were claiming publicly before.
And that changes the game completely.
It really does. Second, we're going to look past the whole wonder weapon illusion. You know, the media loves a hero system. We'll reveal the complex, multi-layered architecture Ukraine is building. We'll even get into how cheap drone killers like the Gepard are getting massive resupply financed by Germany and the UK.
Okay, and the third point?
The third is the huge geopolitical shift behind it all. Germany's record-breaking euro 108 billion defense budget for 2026. And this radical new 90 billion EU loan.
The one with the special clause.
The one designed to be repaid only after Russia pays reparations. This isn't just aid. It's a strategic economic weapon. It's about Ukraine's path to self-sufficiency.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting right at the top. That ninth IRIS-T SLM battery, confirmed by German Defense Minister Pistorius, 9 systems is a serious number.
It is, but you're right. The most fascinating part isn't the number, it's the performance.
Tell me about that.
Well, the IRIS-T was designed for, medium-range threats, cruise missiles, aircraft, that sort of thing.
It's hindered stuff for a system like this.
Right. But we're now getting credible reports from Ukrainian officials confirming that these units have intercepted short-range ballistic missiles in actual combat.
Wow. Okay, I have to stop you there because that feels like a massive shift. I always thought ballistic missiles, the fast ones like the Iskander, were strictly Patriot or SAMP territory, the top-tier systems.
That was the conventional wisdom, absolutely. TBM's tactical ballistic missiles are incredibly demanding targets. They're fast, they have complex trajectories, they're designed to beat air defenses.
So what makes the IRIS-T capable of this? Why is this happening now?
It really comes down to its design. It's an advanced system operating, frankly, outside its original advertised parameters. A big part of it is the vertical launch.
So it can engage threats from any direction, instantly. 360-degree coverage.
Yeah, exactly. No need to turn a launcher. But the missile itself is the real star. It has something called thrust vector control, or TVC.
Okay, break that down.
Think of it like a steerable jet nozzle on the rocket motor. You can redirect the thrust while the engine is still firing, allowing for incredibly sharp turns.
The kind of high-G maneuver you'd need to intercept a missile that's diving almost straight down.
Precisely. And you pair that agility with its sensor package. The system uses a TRML 4D ASA radar. That's an active electronically scanned array. It gives you incredible tracking fidelity.
And for the final moment.
For the final phase, the missile switches to its own infrared seeker. Very hard to jam. That whole combination, the radar, the agility, the seeker, is what's letting it hit these high-speed ballistic targets.
And that real-world validation is huge, especially since this delivery was synchronized with 2 additional Patriot systems. That's no accident.
Not at all. It shows you the strategic thinking. The Patriots are the undisputed top floor of this defense. They're there for the most dangerous threats, the Kinzels, the Iskanders, the Zircons.
For really high-end stuff.
Exactly. So adding 2 more Patriots extends that top-level protection, while the 9 IRIS-T systems create this dense, robust, medium-level coverage below it.
And the financing here is a story in itself. These weren't just from Germany.
No, and this is critical. It was a joint effort. Co-financed by Nordic and Baltic partners, Norway, Denmark, Lithuania. Norway specifically helped Germany pay for these two Patriot systems and the missiles.
So it's a collective pooled effort.
It is, and that's essential. It shows European partners are mobilizing funds together. It makes the entire supply chain more resilient, regardless of political winds elsewhere. It's the foundation for building a true defense architecture.
And that word architecture is exactly what we need to focus on because the media always falls for the wonder weapon idea.
It does, and that illusion is dangerous. You can't just have one superweapon. Russia uses dozens of threat types at once. Ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, glide bombs, and of course, waves of those cheap Shahed drones.
No single system can handle all of that.
And certainly not economically. Which brings us to the brutal math of interception. Using a multi-million-dollar Patriot missile to shoot down a $10,000 drone is, well, it's a tactical win, but a strategic economic loss.
You bleed yourself dry, so you have to assign targets to the right floor of your defense.
Exactly. So let's quickly detail those 4 floors Ukraine and its partners are building. It gives you a really clear picture. So floor 1, the long-range layer, this is the top, Patriot, SAM-PT, reserved for the most dangerous high-speed threats.
Got it. The crown jewels.
Then floor 2, the medium-range core. This is the workhorse layer for area defense. It's where these 9 IRIS-T batteries and the NASAM systems live. They handle cruise missiles, aircraft, things like that.
Okay, and then we get down to the really high-volume stuff, the drone killers. You mentioned SHARAD.
Right. Floor 3 is SHORAD, or short-range air defense. This is your cost-effective layer. The Gepard guns, the new Skynex systems, MANPADS, even mobile machine gun teams. They mop up the drones and low-flying missiles.
And what holds it all together?
Floor 4, command and control and radars, the C2 network. This is the digital brain. It uses advanced radars like the one on the IRIS-T and unified command systems. And this is where the really clever stuff happens, like the Frank and Sam hybrids.
That's where they're integrating Western missiles like the Sea Sparrow onto older Soviet launchers like the Buk.
Exactly that. It's about maximizing every asset you have, making sure a high-end radar can talk to a lower-cost interceptor to make the most efficient kill.
Let's stick with that SHORAD layer for a minute. The Gepard is the absolute champion against the Shaheds, over 110 of them now.
It's the unsung hero for sure. And the sources give us this fantastic little nugget on the ammunition. Germany and the UK jointly supplied 220,000 rounds of 35mm ammo.
Okay, so why is a number like 220,000 rounds so important?
Because we know the kill ratio. Ukrainian operators say it takes just 7 to 11 rounds to down a Shahed. Even if you're conservative and say 15 rounds per kill, that ammo shipment can neutralize thousands of drones.
Preserving the expensive missiles for the targets that actually require them.
That's sustainable defense in a nutshell. And to back that up, Rheinmetall just confirmed they've delivered all 4 of their promised Skynex systems. They're already protecting power plants in western Ukraine.
And the next generation is already on its way.
That's right. The first Sky Ranger 35 units, basically a self-propelled Skynex on a tank chassis, are imminent. And get this, they're being financed by an unnamed EU country using the windfall profits from frozen Russian assets.
That's an incredible mechanism, and it brings us to the biggest pivot here, the shift from just getting aid to actual co-production and self-sufficiency.
Yes. The recent $1.2 billion defense agreement with Germany makes this the absolute focus. Germany is now financing Ukrainian capacity to produce its own systems.
And the prime example of that is the Bodana Zetros project.
The centerpiece, really.
Yeah.
Germany is putting up $750 million to produce 200 Ukrainian Bodana howitzers. But, and this is the key detail, they'll be mounted on German Mercedes-Benz Zetros truck chassis.
Why is that so important? What's the strategy there?
Standardization and logistics. By using a German truck, you instantly plug the Bodana into NATO's logistics and maintenance pipeline. Spare parts, training, it all becomes simpler. Germany is subsidizing Ukraine's integration into the Western industrial base.
It's not just about a weapon. It's about the entire support system for that weapon for decades to come.
Exactly. And we're seeing the same thing with drones. The first joint manufacturing deal between Germany's quantum systems and Ukraine's frontline robotics is signed. It's a total shift from being a recipient to becoming a partner.
All of this depends on a solid financial foundation, and it's all backed by Germany's massive geopolitical policy shift, the Zeitenwende.
The proof is in the numbers. The 2026 German budget, approved in November, it allocates $82.69 billion just for the Bundeswehr. With special funds, the total is around $108 billion.
That's a staggering figure, the largest since the Cold War. How much of that is earmarked for Ukraine?
An unprecedented $11.5 billion for 2026 alone. And that's Germany's biggest single-year commitment yet. It covers everything: artillery contracts, drones, and even replacing the two Patriot systems they just sent. That predictability is priceless for Kyiv.
Which brings up the biggest question. How does Europe sustain this potentially for years, especially with the U.S. shifting more of the burden?
That is where the EU's financial innovation becomes, frankly, revolutionary. On December 19th, EU leaders agreed to a massive 90 billion interest-free loan for Ukraine for 2026 and 2027.
90 billion. But isn't that a huge risk for the EU? What if Ukraine can't pay it back?
But that's the genius of the reparations clause. Ukraine is only required to repay this loan after Russia compensates it for war damages.
So the EU is legally linking its long-term support to Russian accountability.
They are shifting the financial burden directly onto the aggressor. The EU is betting on eventual reparations, but they're not making Ukraine carry the immediate risk.
But what if Russia refuses to pay? Does the EU just take a 90 billion loss?
No, they've hedged that bet. The EU reserves the right to use the interest and principal from the 210 billion in frozen Russian assets to service and repay the loan itself.
So they've created a self-sustaining financial loop funded by the aggressor's own immobilized assets.
It's a strategic economic weapon. It guarantees Ukraine's solvency and sends this overwhelming message of long-term commitment.
Absolutely. So we've gone from the tactical, the IRST's new Tibium killing ability, all the way up to this revolutionary EU financing. The story has completely shifted from simple aid to deep industrial partnership.
That's the core of it.
That really is the key takeaway. The U.S. has changed its role, asking allies to step up. And Europe, led by Germany, has responded with overwhelming financial power and deep industrial co-production. So what does this all mean for the future? If Europe keeps building out this highly capable, integrated air defense architecture backed by its own money and its own industry, could this new, self-reliant, German-led pillar become the future standard for NATO's defense? Could it make European security truly independent of shifting political winds elsewhere? Something for you to chew on. You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Aria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry. And don't forget, subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.